Hello, everyone. Today, I want to tell you a special story about my journey to learning English. It wasn't an easy road, but it taught me so much about hard work, patience, and the power of never giving up. When I was younger, I didn't speak English at all. I lived in a small town where most people spoke only our native language, but I always dreamed of learning English. Do you know why? Because English is the language of opportunities. I wanted to travel, meet people from different countries, and watch movies without subtitles. I wanted to understand the songs I loved, and most importantly, have better career opportunities. However, learning English felt very hard in the beginning. I didn't know how to start. I could understand a few words here and there, but speaking? Oh, that was the most difficult part. Whenever I tried to speak, I would get nervous. My mind would go blank, and I couldn't remember the words. I also worried about making mistakes. What if people laughed at me? What if they didn't understand me? These thoughts made me feel shy and scared. Sometimes I would practice a sentence in my head many times, but when it was time to speak, I couldn't say it. Another problem was vocabulary. I didn't know enough words to express my thoughts. I wanted to say, I am feeling excited about learning English, but all I could say was, I am happy. I felt like my ideas were trapped because I didn't have the right words to say them. Listening to English was also hard. People spoke so fast. I could only catch a word here and there. When I watched movies, it felt like the characters were speaking another language entirely. I would look at the subtitles more than the actual scenes. All these struggles made me feel like giving up. I thought, maybe I'm not smart enough to learn English. Maybe this is too hard for me. But deep down, I knew I couldn't quit. I remembered my dreams, traveling, making friends around the world, and building a better future. Those dreams kept me going. So, I decided to change my mindset. I told myself, learning English will take time, but I can do it if I keep trying. And that's how my journey began. Key steps to fluency in English. Let me now take you through the steps that helped me become fluent in English. Each step was important, and together, they made my learning experience fun, effective, and life-changing. 1. Starting small, watching movies and listening to songs in English. When I first started learning English, I knew I had to immerse myself in the language. But where to begin? I didn't have the confidence to speak, and reading big books seemed overwhelming. So, I decided to start small by watching English movies and listening to English songs. At first, I chose movies with subtitles. I remember watching simple, family-friendly movies where the language was not too complicated. I would listen to the characters speak and read the subtitles at the same time. This helped me connect the words I was hearing to their meanings. Sometimes I paused the movie to write down new words or phrases. For example, I learned expressions like, "How's it going?" and "Take care," just by hearing them repeatedly in movies. Songs were another great tool. I started listening to slow and clear songs, like those by famous artists who used simple lyrics. I would play the same song many times, trying to understand the words. I even printed the lyrics and sang along. This not only improved my vocabulary, but also helped me with pronunciation and rhythm. Over time, I moved on to more challenging movies and songs. I stopped relying on subtitles so much, and I started understanding sentences just by listening. Watching movies and listening to songs made learning enjoyable, and it didn't feel like studying at all. 2. Practicing daily. Speaking to myself and practicing simple sentences. The next step was to practice speaking every day. This was the hardest part for me because I didn't have anyone to practice with at first. So I started talking to myself in English. I would describe my day in simple sentences. For example, in the morning, I would say, "I am waking up now. I will brush my teeth." While cooking, I would say, "I am cutting vegetables. I am making lunch." This may sound silly, but it worked. Speaking out loud helped me get used to forming sentences in English. I also practiced in front of a mirror. I would pretend to have a conversation, asking myself questions like, "How are you today?" and answering, "I am fine, thank you. How about you?" This made me feel less nervous about speaking. Another method I used was repeating sentences I heard in movies or songs. If a character in a movie said, "Can you help me?" I would pause and repeat it several times. This helped me improve my pronunciation and confidence. Every day, I made sure to practice at least 10 to 15 minutes. It wasn't much, but over time, it made a big difference. 3. Finding a partner. Practicing with a friend or partner. After gaining some confidence, I realized that I needed real conversations to improve further. Luckily, I found a friend who was also learning English. We decided to practice together. At first, our conversations were very basic. We would say things like, "What is your favorite food?" or "What did you do today?" It didn't matter that our sentences weren't perfect. What mattered was that we were speaking English. Practicing with a partner helped me in many ways. It taught me how to listen and respond in real time. Sometimes I didn't understand what my friend said, so I would ask, "Can you repeat that?" Or, "What does that mean?" These small interactions helped me learn new words and phrases. We also corrected each other's mistakes. If I said, "She go to school," my friend would gently correct me, "No, it's she goes to school." This was very helpful because I could learn grammar naturally through conversation. Our practice sessions were not always formal. Sometimes we played games like asking riddles or describing things in English. These fun activities kept us motivated and made learning less stressful. 4. Joining a group, speaking in a small group or class. As my confidence grew, I decided to join an English-speaking group at a local community center. This was a big step for me because it meant speaking in front of several people. The group met once a week, and we discussed different topics like hobbies, travel, and daily routines. At first, I felt nervous and made many mistakes, but everyone in the group was very supportive. They encouraged me to keep trying, even when I struggled. Speaking in a group taught me how to interact with different people. I learned to ask questions, share my opinions, and even tell short stories in English. This was very exciting because I felt like I was using English in a real way. The group also helped me improve my listening skills. When others spoke, I tried to understand their accents and learn new phrases from them. It was like being in a small, English-speaking world where everyone helped each other. 5. Learning from mistakes. Embracing mistakes as part of learning. One of the most important lessons I learned on my journey was to embrace mistakes. In the beginning, I was very afraid of making mistakes. I thought people would laugh at me or think I wasn't smart. But over time, I realized that mistakes are just steps toward improvement. For example, once I said, "I am boring," instead of "I am bored." My friend laughed and explained the difference. I felt a little embarrassed, but I never forgot that lesson. From then on, I reminded myself that it's okay to make mistakes because they help you learn faster. Another time, I mispronounced a word in front of the group. Instead of feeling bad, I asked them how to say it correctly. They taught me, and I practiced until I got it right. Mistakes also taught me to laugh at myself and stay positive. If I said something wrong, I would say, "Oops, let me try again." This attitude made learning more enjoyable and less stressful. Putting it all together, each of these steps, starting small, practicing daily, finding a partner, joining a group, and learning from mistakes, played a big role in my journey to fluency. None of them worked overnight, but together they helped me improve little by little. The key was consistency. I didn't skip a single day of practice, even if it was just for a few minutes. I also kept reminding myself that learning a language takes time and effort, but the results are worth it. Now, when I look back, I feel proud of how far I've come. If I can do it, so can you. Remember, fluency is not about being perfect. It's about being confident and enjoying the process of learning. Keep practicing, and you'll get there. Learning English wasn't an easy journey for me. There were so many moments when I felt frustrated, discouraged, and even doubtful about my ability to succeed. I want to share these challenges with you because I believe every learner faces them in some way. And most importantly, I want to tell you how I overcame them. In the beginning, I struggled to understand even the simplest English words and sentences. I remember trying to watch an English movie without subtitles for the first time. I was so excited, but after a few minutes, my excitement turned into frustration. The characters spoke too fast, and I couldn't follow what was happening. It felt like they were speaking an entirely different language. The same thing happened with songs. I loved listening to English songs, but I could only pick out one or two words from an entire verse. This made me feel so small, like I would never be able to understand real English. I even thought, maybe English is just too difficult for me. But instead of giving up, I reminded myself why I started. I wanted to travel, meet people, and grow as a person. So, I decided to take it step by step. I went back to watching movies with subtitles and listening to slower songs. I realized it was okay not to understand everything right away. Every time I understood even one new word, I celebrated it. Slowly, my understanding improved, and my frustration started to fade. Another major challenge was my fear of making mistakes. Every time I opened my mouth to speak English, I felt nervous. What if I say the wrong word? What if people laugh at me? These thoughts held me back from practicing. I remember one embarrassing moment clearly. I was talking to someone and I accidentally said, "I am boring," instead of "I am bored." The person laughed and corrected me, but I felt so embarrassed that I wanted to stop speaking altogether. This fear made me silent for a long time. I avoided speaking in English, even though I knew I needed the practice. But one day, I realized something important. Everyone makes mistakes when they learn something new. I thought about how I learned my native language as a child. Did I speak perfectly from the beginning? Of course not. I made mistakes, but I learned from them. So I decided to change my mindset. Instead of being afraid of mistakes, I started to see them as opportunities to learn. If I said something wrong, I would laugh along with others and say, "Thank you for correcting me." This attitude made me more relaxed and confident. Pronunciation was another big challenge for me. Some English sounds were very different from the sounds in my native language. For example, I had trouble with the th sound in words like think and thank. No matter how hard I tried, it always sounded wrong. I also struggled with stress and intonation. English has a natural rhythm that I wasn't used to. Sometimes, even when I said the right words, people had trouble understanding me because of my pronunciation. This made me feel like I wasn't making any progress. To improve, I started practicing pronunciation every day. I listened carefully to how native speakers said words and tried to copy them. I also recorded myself speaking and compared it to the correct pronunciation. It was hard at first, but with time, I started to notice small improvements. One thing that helped me a lot was tongue twisters. They were fun to practice and helped me with tricky sounds. For example, I practiced saying, "She sells seashells by the seashore," and it made my pronunciation clearer. There were times when I felt like giving up. Learning English seemed like climbing a never-ending mountain. No matter how much effort I put in, I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere. I thought, maybe I'm just not good at learning languages. Maybe this is not for me. One of the hardest moments was when I tried to have a conversation with a fluent English speaker. I couldn't keep up, and I felt so embarrassed. I thought to myself, how will I ever be fluent if I can't even have a simple conversation? But then I realized something important. Progress takes time. I remembered a story about bamboo trees. When you plant a bamboo seed, nothing happens for the first few years. But during this time, the roots are growing underground, and then suddenly the bamboo shoots up, growing tall and strong. I realized that my learning was like those bamboo roots. Even though I couldn't see big progress, I was building a strong foundation. This thought gave me hope and kept me moving forward. So how did I overcome all these challenges? The answer is simple. I didn't give up. I kept reminding myself why I started learning English in the first place. I focused on my dreams and goals, and I used them as motivation. I also learned to be kind to myself. Instead of getting upset about my mistakes, I celebrated my small victories. If I learned a new word or completed a short conversation, I told myself, "You're doing great." Another thing that helped was having a supportive environment. My friends and family encouraged me to keep going, and my practice partners were patient and kind. They reminded me that every learner faces challenges and that it's okay to struggle. Finally, I learned to enjoy the process. I started to see learning English not as a task, but as an adventure. Every new word, every successful conversation, and even every mistake was a step closer to my goal. If you're feeling frustrated or doubtful about learning English, remember that you're not alone. Every learner faces challenges, but the key is to keep going. Take it one step at a time, be patient with yourself, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Most importantly, believe in yourself. If I can overcome these challenges, so can you. Keep practicing, and one day you'll look back and feel proud of how far you've come. After months and even years of consistent effort, practice, and determination, the day finally came when I realized I was fluent in English. It wasn't a sudden realization. Instead, it came gradually, like the rising of the sun, spreading light and warmth over every corner of my life. Let me take you on this journey of success, step by step, so you can understand how much this achievement meant to me and how it transformed my life completely. One of the first signs of fluency was during a casual conversation with a friend. I was speaking in English, and I suddenly noticed that I wasn't translating from my native language in my head anymore. The words flowed naturally, and I wasn't struggling to find the right expressions. For the first time, I felt free while speaking English. I remember the exact moment when my friend said, "Wow, your English has improved so much. You sound so confident." Hearing those words filled me with pride and joy. I realized that all the hard work I had put into learning English was finally paying off. Another small but powerful moment was when I ordered food at a restaurant in English. In the past, I would feel nervous and rehearse my sentences in my head before speaking. But this time, I spoke without hesitation, and the waiter understood me perfectly. It might seem like a small thing, but for me, it was a big achievement. The real moment of realization came when I had to give a presentation in English at work. It was a big challenge because I had never spoken in front of a group of people in English before. I spent days preparing, writing down my key points, and practicing my speech. When the day came, I stood in front of the audience, my heart racing. But as I started to speak, something amazing happened. I felt calm and confident. The words came out smoothly, and I didn't stumble or struggle. The audience was engaged, nodding and smiling as I spoke. After the presentation, I received so many compliments. My boss even said, "Your English was excellent. You explained everything so clearly." That moment was a turning point for me. I realized that I was no longer just learning English, I was living it. How fluency changed my life. Becoming fluent in English has completely transformed my life. It opened doors to opportunities I never thought were possible and gave me a confidence that I carry with me every day. 1. New career opportunities. Fluency in English allowed me to apply for better jobs. I could now attend interviews with confidence and communicate effectively with potential employers. I even got a promotion at my current job because I could handle tasks that required English communication. 2. Traveling the world. One of my dreams was to travel, and English made that dream a reality. I visited different countries, and English became my bridge to connect with people from all over the world. I could ask for directions, make friends, and share my experiences without any fear. 3. Building relationships. Speaking English fluently has helped me make new friends from different cultures. I can now join conversations, share my ideas, and learn from others without feeling left out. It has enriched my life with diverse perspectives and meaningful relationships. 4. Personal growth. Fluency in English has boosted my self-esteem and confidence. I no longer feel nervous when speaking in public or meeting new people. It has taught me that I am capable of achieving anything I set my mind to. 5. Helping others. One of the most fulfilling parts of my journey is being able to help others who are learning English. I understand their struggles because I've been there myself. I share my tips and experiences, and it feels amazing to inspire others on their journey. Looking back, I am so proud of how far I've come. There were times when I doubted myself, times when I wanted to give up, but I kept going. And now, I am living a life that I once only dreamed of. Fluency in English is not just about speaking a language. It's about gaining a tool that can change your life. It's about unlocking doors, building connections, and discovering your own potential. If you're on your journey to learning English, know that success is waiting for you too. It may take time and there will be challenges, but every step you take brings you closer to your goal. When you achieve fluency, you'll see how much it can transform your life. You'll feel more confident, more connected, and more capable than ever before. And one day, you'll look back, just like I am now, and feel proud of how far you've come. Keep going, keep practicing, and believe in yourself. Your success story is just around the corner. As I reflect on my journey to fluency in English, one thing stands out: the incredible opportunities that opened up before me. Fluency didn't just change the way I communicated, it redefined my entire world. The first time I realized the true value of speaking English fluently was during an unexpected encounter. I was traveling alone in a foreign country, and I found myself in a situation where I needed help. I approached a local person, explained my problem in English, and, to my surprise, they understood me perfectly. Not only did they help me, but we also had a short, pleasant conversation about the place I was visiting. In that moment, I felt an overwhelming sense of freedom. English had become more than just a language for me. It was a bridge to connect with the world. Another memorable moment came when I attended an international seminar. Participants from all over the globe were sharing their thoughts and ideas in English. For the first time, I was able to contribute confidently, sharing my opinions and asking questions without hesitation. The feeling of being part of a global conversation was empowering and inspiring. Fluency in English brought significant changes to my professional life. In the past, I often avoided opportunities that required English communication. Whether it was presenting my ideas in meetings, attending international conferences, or even applying for better positions, the fear of speaking in English held me back. But once I became fluent, everything changed. I started volunteering to lead discussions and present ideas at work. My confidence and ability to express myself clearly impressed my colleagues and superiors. Soon after, I was offered a chance to represent my company in a global project. This role involved frequent communication with international clients and team members, all in English. Taking on this responsibility was a turning point in my career. It showed me that fluency in English wasn't just a skill. It was a superpower that allowed me to grow professionally and personally. One of the most beautiful aspects of becoming fluent in English was the connections I made with people from diverse backgrounds. In my early days of learning English, I felt isolated in conversations. I would watch others chat effortlessly and wish I could join them. But as my fluency improved, I started engaging in these conversations. I remember meeting a group of travelers during a vacation. They were from different countries, but English was the common language. We shared stories, laughed, and even discussed our cultures. It was then that I realized how English connects people from all corners of the world. These connections didn't just make me feel included. They broadened my perspective. I learned about different traditions, lifestyles, and ways of thinking. It made me more open-minded and appreciative of the diversity in the world. Fluency in English also transformed me on a personal level. I became more confident in every aspect of my life. I started speaking up in situations where I would have stayed silent before. For instance, I remember attending a family gathering where relatives often spoke English. In the past, I would shy away from these conversations, afraid of making mistakes. But now I joined in confidently, sharing my thoughts and stories. Seeing their smiles and hearing their encouragement boosted my confidence even more. This newfound confidence extended beyond speaking. It gave me the courage to try new things, step out of my comfort zone, and take on challenges. Learning English taught me that growth comes from perseverance and the willingness to face difficulties head-on. One of the most satisfying parts of my journey was celebrating the milestones along the way. These moments reminded me of how far I had come, receiving my first compliment on my English fluency, writing and sending an email in English without double-checking every word, watching an English movie without subtitles and understanding every word, reading my first book in English and feeling a sense of accomplishment. Each milestone, no matter how small, was a reminder of the progress I had made. It kept me motivated to continue learning and improving. Fluency in English gave me the ability to inspire and guide others on their journey. Many friends and family members approached me for tips and advice, and I was always happy to help. I shared my experiences, talked about the challenges I faced, and encouraged them to believe in themselves. I often told them, "If I can do it, so can you." Seeing their progress brought me immense joy and satisfaction. Helping others also deepened my understanding of the learning process. It reminded me of the struggles I had overcome and the determination it took to succeed. Today, fluency in English is not just a skill I possess. It's a part of who I am. It has given me access to a world of opportunities, connections, and experiences that have enriched my life in countless ways. Every time I speak, whether it's a casual conversation, a professional discussion, or a heartfelt story, I am reminded of the journey that brought me here. Learning English wasn't just about mastering a language, it was about discovering my potential, overcoming my fears, and embracing a world of endless possibilities. If you're on your journey to fluency, remember this: success is waiting for you too. Stay determined, celebrate every milestone, and never stop believing in yourself. The rewards of fluency are more than worth the effort. As we come to the end of my story, I want to leave you with a few important lessons I've learned from my journey to fluency in English. These lessons are not just about learning a language, they're about building a mindset for success. If there's one thing you take away from my story, let it be this: practice, patience, and persistence are the keys to mastering English, or anything in life. 1. Practice. Every day, consistency is the secret ingredient to learning English. You don't have to study for hours at a time. Even a little practice every day can make a big difference over time. Speak to yourself, write in a journal, listen to songs, or watch a short video in English. The more you surround yourself with the language, the more natural it will feel. When I was learning, I made it a habit to practice speaking English every morning for just 10 minutes. It might sound like a small thing, but those 10 minutes added up to hours of practice over weeks and months. Little by little, my confidence grew and my skills improved. 2. Be patient with yourself. Learning a new language is not a race, it's a journey. There will be days when you feel stuck or frustrated, but those moments are part of the process. Remember, it's okay to make mistakes. They are proof that you're trying. When I first started, I used to get upset whenever I made a mistake. But over time, I realized that mistakes are valuable. Each one taught me something new. So, be kind to yourself and celebrate the progress you're making, no matter how small. 3. Stay persistent. The road to fluency can be long and challenging, but persistence will keep you moving forward. There were times when I felt like giving up, especially when I struggled with grammar or couldn't find the right words. But I reminded myself why I started, and that kept me going. Persistence is like planting a seed. You water it every day, even if you don't see it growing at first. But one day it will sprout, and soon it will bloom into something amazing. Keep going, and you will see the results of your hard work. To all the students out there who dream of becoming fluent in English, I want to say this: your journey starts today. You don't have to wait for the perfect time or the perfect resources. Start with what you have and where you are. Take small steps every day. Read a short story, listen to a podcast, or practice a few sentences in front of the mirror. Each step, no matter how small, brings you closer to your goal. Remember, everyone's journey is different. Some may learn faster, while others take more time. What matters is that you keep moving forward at your own pace. One of the most important things I learned during my journey is to believe in myself. There will be moments when you doubt your abilities or feel like you're not making progress. But trust me, you are capable of achieving fluency. When I first started, I never imagined I would one day speak English confidently. But I believed in the process, and that belief carried me through the tough times. So believe in yourself even when it feels hard. You are stronger and more capable than you realize. Close your eyes and imagine yourself speaking English fluently. Picture yourself having conversations with confidence, traveling to new places, or achieving your dream job. Hold on to that vision and let it inspire you to keep going. Fluency in English is not just about learning a language. It's about opening doors to opportunities, connections, and personal growth. It's about building a future that's full of possibilities. If I could do it, so can you. My journey was filled with challenges, but every challenge taught me something valuable. And now I stand here, sharing my story with you, hoping to inspire you to start your own. Remember, practice every day, even if it's just a little. Be patient with yourself and celebrate your progress. Stay persistent, even when the road gets tough. You are capable of achieving fluency in English. And when you do, you'll look back on your journey with pride and gratitude, just like I do now. Now, it's your turn. Take that first step. no matter how small. Start speaking, start practicing, and start believing in yourself. Your success story is waiting to be written, and I can't wait to hear all about it. So, go out there, embrace the journey, and make your dream of fluency a reality. The world is waiting to hear your voice. Let it shine.